All right, guys. Welcome to episode number 7, still of our Nameless podcast. We'll get there, I promise. We'll get there, AJ.
Maybe episode 10 will launch the name.
Conversations with Kryptiles. We're taking over.
Yeah.
There you go.
My name is Harry with Zero's Geckos. We have AJ with AJD Reptiles, and we have Kyle at Kryptiles. And Kyle, man, we're so glad to have you. Appreciate your time.
Super excited.
Yeah, dude. And yeah, well, from the front end, we just want to plug your upcoming podcast. You want to tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Sure. Yeah. It's called Conversations with Kryptiles, and it's my little. I don't know. It's my way of trying to bring some fun and just education, but also like for everyone, like no one excluded, like no drama, just like asking AJ or other breeders, like, what's the worst part of your day, like day to day, or how'd you get, like, what was your first reptile, like stuff that no one knows about these other people. And I want to just hit a bunch of like animal people. Like it doesn't have to be reptiles, doesn't have to be Cresteds. It's gonna be like a little bit of everything. So
that's cool.
I'm pumped. It's gonna be Exotic, Emma Locke for the she's a YouTuber, a little first
she's a one.
But that's all I got. Awesome. So it's it'll be fun.
I've heard she's really cool from multiple people, but I have yet to meet her. So
you'll meet her at Tinley.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. For sure.
Do you have like a pretty big lineup coming up, or you're still working it out as you go?
No, the guest list is awesome.
Oh, sweet.
I'm gonna be we got everyone I've kind of asked has said so I'm kind of just waiting to
line them up.
I'm trying between like getting all the gecko, like taking care of the geckos, and then starting this has been interesting. But after Tinley, I will finally have some downtime and get that cranking. So hopefully some content real soon.
Yeah. Are you planning on doing like once a week, once a few weeks, or how's your schedule?
Ideally, it will be twice a month. Okay. To start, it's going to be once a month, and it's going to be its own like little series on the YouTube channel for Kryptiles, and then I'll do other videos or whatever, whatever happens. Like if I could fail and I wouldn't even care. It'd be fun. Like it's just this is just for fun, you know. For
sure. Yeah, it'll be chill. Yeah, that's exciting, man. Yeah, we look forward to
excited to see it,
doing it with you. Fun. And I think it's cool because we need to have more good reptile content out there, and so.
Did we lose him? Is he coming back?
It's frozen.
Oh no, did we freeze out a little bit?
Yeah, okay? You're back.
Okay,
yeah, you're good.
We're back. All right. Yeah.
We need to what? Sorry.
No, I'm just excited because we need to have more good content out there, right? And to have you as a reputable breeder, putting out good content and having fun with it, I think that's pretty exciting.
It's all about fun. If it's not fun, I won't do it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just there's a lot of crusty people out there and reptiles, and it's everybody just take a chill. It's all fun.
Yeah.
Yep. So you won't get any drama from me.
Yeah,
that's one thing I could promise. So like just chatting with you guys, like it's fun. Like I enjoy other people's collections and like just geckos. They're just cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah. AJ, you and Kyle have met before, and how do you guys know
we met at Flora Fauna in person, but we had talked, previously over social media and stuff. So
yeah, cool
for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then we were just talking earlier. You guys will all be at Tinley. Kyle will be at Tinley, not vending, but roaming around. Yeah,
I'm gonna be helping the Pangea guys at their booth, and then I'll just be hanging out at the Gecko lane or whatever you guys call it.
Yeah. The Gecko lane of like 7 in a row. Don't forget us. Me and Brian are not in the Gecko lane because they won't let us move our table.
All right. Well, I'll try not to forget you. I'll have to find you. I'll have to find you.
I'll make sure to tell you where you are.
Are you in the middle of the snakes or something? They put you in the corner?
No, we're about 3/4 down on an end, like on a back end cap. So.
Okay.
I'll make sure I'll post a map and circle our table so you know where it is.
Nice. Share your location on your phone.
I mean, you guys, if you haven't been, your minds are going to be blown.
Yeah.
You've no idea what you're going to walk into. It's so much bigger than every other show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to look at I want to look at the other species. Like, I'm more excited to see like exactly what's there than even, you know, checking out the Cresteds. So
there's some awesome tree frog breeders there that breed like crazy rare tree frogs and stuff, and like really, there's just really interesting collections that people breed. And
internet is the connection kind of bad, guys? Just to
a little bit.
Okay, it's a little bit funny, huh?
Yeah,
just a little.
AJ,
I mean, like
AJ,
you said in post, it should work. So
it should work. Yeah, it's funny though, because they'll have these conversations where we all look perfect, and we're having these conversations about the connection's funny. So,
and then we'll have like ones where it's like really bad, and then we go back and it's like fine. So
okay. We'll try. We'll see what we can get through. Okay,
we're good. We're good. We're having fun.
Keep going. We'll keep rolling. Cool, man. Yeah, so that's exciting. It'll be good to meet you, Kyle, in person.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be fun, man. So just really quickly, what's a quick snapshot of who you are, where you're from, where you grew up, and how you got into, and then we'll segue you into how you got into the geckos and the reptiles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Kyle. I'm from Massachusetts. I've been here my whole life. Right outside of Boston, not in the city, but on the outskirts. So, I'm right next to everything. So, Boston. I don't know if I have an accent. I don't think.
Not really,
when I go when I go to the South, people are like, "Oh, you sound like Matt Damon or Ben Affleck." I'm like, no, they
really. That's funny.
I don't think I have that strong of one, but who knows? But yeah, that's me. Yeah. Boston.
That's cool, man. And when did you start keeping reptiles, and how'd you break into Cresteds?
Good question. So I've always, since as long as I can remember, I was outside catching things, salamanders, whatever. There's not much in Massachusetts, but you get some enough to go outside and go herping and, catch some stuff. But I've always kept reptiles. I've always had snakes or whatever. Like, I've kept a little bit of everything kind of, and just I had a whole bunch of different species one day, and then I was just like, I want to try to breed something. And then I didn't even have Cresteds. Like, I've had them before, but I didn't have them in my collection of reptiles. So I was like, when am I going to start breeding? And then I was just like, well, I'll just try Cresteds. Like, why not? Like, and then you get your first breeding pair, and then it's all downhill from there.
Yeah. How long ago was it when you first got your Cresteds?
Honestly, it's only been like 4 years.
Okay.
Like, where I've honed in on them specifically and kind of went with it. I never bred anything else. Never had the desire. Just enjoyed like keeping them, and I love chameleons. Panther chameleons are some of my favorites, and had a tegu, and Cresteds are by far the easiest that I've kept. And even though there's almost 1,000 in the collection, they're still easier than snakes in my opinion. But that's so just me.
You're at 1,000?
Between like eggs, we're hatching out like 6 to 10 new hatchies a day. It's like,
okay, wow.
I'm like, you guys need to hold on, like stay in the eggs, like.
Wow, so you have a full on operation. It's as big as AJ's. It's bigger than AJ's?
No,
it's probably
I don't think
similar.
So.
Probably similar, yeah. I honestly have no idea how many I have. That's bad.
You probably have like
I don't. It's kind of like they're just geckos. Like, I don't ever sit there and count them. It's just like, oh, the room's full. So
I always say, like, there's like when you lose track of how many you have, normally when people get above like a couple hundred, they don't really know how many they have anymore. And then you reach like over 500, and then you probably could have between 500 and 1,000, and you wouldn't really know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just
just too many animals.
There's like points where you reach a milestone, and then maybe you know, but in between you don't really know.
Seriously, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
it gets out of hand pretty quick.
They breed very quickly. So
yeah,
that's funny. Yeah. Also, do you keep them all? You have a separate facility, or it's all in your house, like in a basement?
No, it's in my house right now. Honestly, they take up the whole second floor of my house.
Okay. Wow.
It's I have enough room downstairs to kind of make do, but I'm the goal is just save up as much as I can, and then, you know, build a house and build a separate facility, like completely separate from the house, you know, on the same property, but at least let me walk to work, you know, like I don't want to just live in where I work. Like I want it a little far away. Like,
For sure.
but no, it's just Gecko City over here with everything going on, and it's in my house, you know, not in the basement, but the upstairs, and you know, we get all the weather here, so you know, we get extreme winters and then we get extreme summer, so that's, you know, figuring out what worked for this room. Like everything, it's a brick house with like, you know, wood trim, so like you take into account with like humidity and temperature, and like the whole upstairs is just like gecko proofed. So like temperature controlled, whatever. So it's gecko land.
How are you
over
doing
here.
that? Are you doing like, do you have like individual HVAC like mini splits in rooms, or are
No.
you doing
no mini
like
splits
a
yet?
Thermostat for the whole upstairs, or
no, so it's all like separate rooms. So like it's annoying, and the electric bill is not great, but it's just like space heaters. Like everything I use is, I make sure it's like some kind of smart, you know, can run it through your phone, monitor through your phone. Like even in the summer, I gotta run the ACs up there, and everything's on the phone, and get alerts, and whatever you're doing, you just run home, it's overheating or you lose power, and you know, stuff like that you don't think about. But I know all the people, you know, the hurricane and all that, the storm, I guess, you know, it's going to be pretty nuts. I can't imagine dealing with that and losing power, and it's wild.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of basements in Boston?
Yeah. Every house pretty much has a basement.
Do you have a basement in your house?
I do. Yeah. It's scary.
But you don't use it? Oh, because it's scary.
No, not because it's scary. It's just kind of like, it's an old bait, you know, it's like
unfinished, low
unfinished.
ceilings.
Yeah. And like, it's just for storage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you do it up, you can put more geckos down there.
Yeah. No, don't give me any ideas. I want to get out of
another
this place
500 down there.
Yeah, he's trying to get him out of the house, Harry. Not put more in the house.
Seriously.
Oh man. Okay, so about 4 years ago, that's when you started breeding Cresteds. And what was your initial breeding collection? How, like, what morphs were they? Where did you get them from? Did you get them from Pangea, the pet store?
No.
Or
So honestly, my first pair, I got the pair from Cindy at Gecko Haven.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And
that's a good first
I ended up you know, they've been sold since, but I still see them kicking around. The people that purchased them, I still see pictures, but yeah, those are I got the pair, and at the time I was spending more than I wanted to on a lizard, and but which doesn't even, it pales in comparison to like the pricing going around now. So it's like, but to me at the time I was like, dang, I guess I'm gonna go for this. And then you get your first eggs, and then
you just go from there, huh?
A lot of failing until now, and changing up everything, and wasting money on things that you thought would work and don't work. And
you mean like different types of morphs and projects?
Oh no, more like just like how you keep your collection. You know, it's been trial and error. Like it's been brutal. Like different things that can come up, or you know, things that you don't expect. And yeah, it's just every day is an experience.
I want to come back to that eventually. I want to hear kind of where you started and where you've landed on like housing and stuff like that. So bookmark that.
Yeah, and as far as like morphs, like the first two I got were just harlequins. Cool. You know, like a partial pinstripe, nothing fancy, and they made more of those, and I paired them that one season, and then that was it. So
nice, man.
So that was kind of the gateway into the gecko, the crested world.
Gateway, yep. They were the gateway animals.
Yeah. So what are you most known for now? Like if you're, you know, as Kryptiles, are you most known for like your tries, your Harleys? What are kind of main projects are you known for?
I don't know. Like you guys would have to tell me. I try to. I like to have like a lot of variety, because like I'm all over the place with what I like, and with as far as the morphs goes, and like I'm still a huge fan of lily whites. I've always been a huge fan.
Okay, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
And till today, like I still like hatching out lilies that, different color, the yellows, and we have like, we're trying to get like, we have this one female called Funky, and she looks like you dipped her in like Cheeto dust as a lily, and it, like orange, bright orange, and their hatchlings have been awesome. So like, bring those up, and I think there's still a lot with lilies, and I still personally, they're still some of my favorite to
lilies
watch
are what
grow.
got me into. Yeah,
you did, yeah.
My first lily was from AJ. I was like, this thing's amazing, and then that kind of brought me into the gecko world because of the lily whites, seeing them. So
yeah,
that's cool. It's cool. So you have a pretty big lily white project going. Ongoing
Yeah,
project.
we do a lot of phantoms. One of my favorite projects right now is phantom red spot Dalmatians, and we've been able to get red base color, mute out almost all the white.
Wow.
You just see like kind of like the speckling going down the dorsal, and then like litter them with red spots, like super red spots kind of deal. And
I've
it's
seen
been
that.
working.
And I checked so that male I got from you, Kyle, is just from that pair, but not a lily, right?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and the non-lilies
really cool.
from that pair have been amazing. Like we have a few. The one that AJ got was like the base color is gray. Like I don't even know how you explain the base color when it's like unfired.
It goes in between like super pink, like light pink, unfired, to like light salmon colored, fired up.
Yeah.
It's like not red, it's not orange, it's like kind of this like salmon orangey pink. But it goes between like pink and like orangey pink. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's I've liked from that pairing a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have I know you have Exanthics. Do you have Exanthic lily whites yet?
Working on that. So we have the sauce to get them. We're just waiting on the eggs to hatch.
Got it.
So hopefully,
so kind of like a newer project that you're breaking into.
Yeah, another thing too is we are in the cappuccino frappuccino game.
Cool. How many do you have?
We just have the one frappuccino Starbucks, but he's got fertile eggs cooking. Probably a couple weeks we'll have some. My understanding, you either hatch frappuccinos or cappuccinos out of that. So
nice.
Be cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new stuff going on out there.
Yeah, it's cool. So you have those projects going. Anything in particular that you said you want to spread things out, right? You're kind of diversifying your morphs and the projects, but is there anything that you're most excited about? A primary project that you're working on?
I mean, the frappuccino is pretty exciting, and then I'm not super into going for the supers, but I'll try to make the supers. And the cool thing is it's the one at Starbucks, the male I have, the frappuccino, is from Treehouse Geckos. So they're not really circulating yet, so keep them back and kind of see what you can do with it, because the tuxedo line is one of my favorite lines. It's just
I think it's
really
the best cappuccino line that's out.
Yeah,
I do too. I honestly do.
Nice. Yeah,
by far. We're always shouting Janine out, and we're just hoping she sells. We're hoping she sells us one. That's what it is.
I'll ask her to come onto the podcast when I see her at Tinley.
We're just gonna keep shouting her out until she's like, "All right, fine."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But
so Starbucks is that from Treehouse that you got?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So tuxedo line, frappuccino, lily white, and cappuccino.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the whole super cap thing? With Little Monsters Reptiles and the PSA. You see that?
Oh, the small nostril size and all that.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I haven't read that website yet. I don't.
Okay.
I think with the caps and fraps, I'm not going to hold anything like as law until there's a lot more data behind them. And then when I get my hands on them myself, I'll take a look and see.
It'd also be it'd be interesting to see, because the animals that you're working with, the Treehouse line is pretty different. I would say it looks very different than a lot of the other caps.
Yeah.
As far as like the base form animals look different. So who knows? Maybe that's animals that originated from, X, original animal. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
We'll
either.
find
It's
out.
all kind of speculation, but
Yeah.
that's what, like, if they crack the code to like Crested genetics and then you know what you're gonna get before you hatch, I won't do it. Like, I love the surprise. Like, when you get a clutch of eggs and they hatch, you don't really know what's gonna be in there. Like,
That's
it's
true.
awesome. The stuff I see
Yeah.
hopping out, like if you said that would have happened even 2 years ago, people would say there's no way, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy how far, even like a couple years ago was like the lily whites, you know, coming from Lily Exotics, and that was the big craze, you know. But yeah, you have a couple heavy hitters in the market right now with the fraps and caps. You have sables now. You have I don't know much about what are they? How do they say Sorak, or is that?
Yeah.
Have you
What is
seen
that?
those?
Is it
It's
like
a
a
super cap lily.
Oh, that's
super
what that
cap
is. Yeah,
lily?
I can't keep up these days, but
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
super
there's
cap lily. But it's really interesting to me because the super cap lilies and the super caps grown to adulthood look the same to me.
yeah, they
So I'm
do.
like, is this actually different? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So, I mean,
It's the Wild West right now.
yeah,
Makes it
it's all
exciting, I
good
guess.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
fun.
Yeah.
it's kind of, it seems like it's a race over there with like what you can mix and match and pop out eventually. So,
Yeah, that's cool though. You have at least a couple new of the newer morphs that you're already working in, and you already have kind of a leg up, and so that's kind of cool. Are you thinking of grabbing any other new morphs coming up, whether it's the sables or I guess that's the newest one, right? This year,
yeah, yeah. So sables are my next target. I'm really big. Like, I hope I can get my hands on some and work with them. I think those would be really cool to work with and start that project. So yeah, that's my next goal.
Nice.
What do you think? I know you're probably semi-biased because you don't have Sable yet and you have Cap. Do you
Yeah.
think Sable is cooler than Cap? I think
No,
so. You think
I don't.
Cap's cooler?
Yeah, just because no
From-
one's experimented enough. Like, that's where I'm talking like the different base color lilies and the different, you know what I mean? There to me, I have this vision, and I'm hoping, give me like 3-4 years, and I'm hoping that, you know, experiment with the fraps a lot. And but I also do want to experiment with the sable. So if I had to pick, if you made me, I would choose fraps just because I'm biased. But
So not
yeah,
Caps, but Fraps.
yeah, the caps. I don't. Obviously, you can't have one without the other, but I'm not specifically after the caps or the supers. I'm kind of looking to experiment with the fraps. Yeah,
the fraps look so much better than the caps are just like dark animals that look good, but they're not special.
They
right?
don't really look good for the most part. I mean, the dark charcoaly ones look good, but that's kind of about it.
Yeah, though I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to find out more about like the caps, and like I just, from what I've seen like online and stuff, like people are calling caps like whatever. There's no real like guidelines. I don't feel like I know the people, like the bigger names, like they know what they're doing, but I feel like there's just way too much misinformation for like the beginners, where like these people are going out thinking they're going to hit the lottery at PetSmart because they found a cap, and then, you know, they post it in a group and they say they got a cappuccino. It's like, maybe, but like, who's going to be the person to be like, yes, no, yes, no? Like, what technically, like, they say you can tell. I haven't seen them in person, like as hatchlings, so I don't know. But I'm excited to try to see like what visually. Like, there's a lot of stuff with Cresteds you can't really get a, you know, grasp of until you see it in person.
Yeah,
I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, I remember when Lily Whites first came out, people were like, "It like I have geckos that look like that. I don't see the difference." And I'm like,
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as you hatch a single one, you're like, there's no doubt in your mind that it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like you hatch a normal animal and a lily white, and you're like, oh, I get it. Like it's completely different.
Yeah. No, I definitely.
And then once you
agree
actually see what like high expressions of them do, you're like, oh yeah, there's no way to. And maybe to the untrained eye, you'd see like a high white animal or like a really high white tricolor or something and mistake it, but like I don't know. Even now, I feel like I can even spot like super low expression lilies out of anything.
I agree. I can spot I'm confident I could spot a lily out of a lineup.
Yeah, even if you pick
100%.
like a really bad one in like a really high end
Yeah.
gecko lineup. Yeah, because they get like that, they get all that white on their fringe and their legs and their bellies and all that stuff. And they almost all of them have like low lat line white, even if it's like minimal.
Yeah. And it seems like the white on the sides at least are just really thick. Like they look really
raised
heavy.
scales.
Yeah.
Yeah, like raised scales. Yeah.
That's a lot different from like a high white tricolor or high white animal. You don't get that like lateral.
Isn't it interesting how lily white, some people don't really often talk about this, but lily white can actually like distort the texture of scales.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It is and I've seen that firsthand with some animals. Like there's like chunks of like the lily white pattern. It's weird. It's like,
or it's like
I don't know how to
it's like
exactly.
It's like 50% taller, or maybe even like 200% taller scales than the rest of the body.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like raised off the body. I feel like some quad stripes do that too. Like really good quad stripes will do that on the quad itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Kyle, you said you have you have eggs now from Starbucks. Is it your first first season breeding Starbucks?
Yep.
Okay.
Gotcha. I think I purchased him. He was around like 10 grams, but it was like a winter hold or whatever. And then by the time I got him, he was fairly big, and then raised him up and he's ready to roll. So
did you know it was a frap back then?
Yep.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Even
the
though
sister.
You didn't officially, you couldn't say it officially, but you know.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, she had to take the time to, prove out her line, and
got it. Yeah.
I just didn't. It's not my place, so I just do what I'm told. When if people have a project and I'm lucky enough to get in on it, then I try to accommodate.
Smart.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, though I was happy for her to finally prove it out, because she was getting a good amount of flack for stuff, and
that's so crazy. I mean, I feel like her animals were the most obvious, in my opinion, of anybody's.
I know. When you see like Starbucks in person is just ridiculous. Like, when you see them, and it's very odd. It's no other way to describe it, but it's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. I haven't seen a adult frap in person, so
come up to Boston.
I got to meet. Yeah, I'll come up and see it. I got to meet Oint Reptile from Korea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're big on the fraps. So him and I got to talk a lot about that June, and I got to talk about fraps when I was in Vegas.
Does he have a big
fascinating. Tons of them. Yeah, he's like a big frap breeder.
Okay. Yeah, he'll be at Tinley, he said.
Yeah. So we'll all be able to talk to him. We'll have a frap meetup.
Frap with fraps.
Yeah. Fraps with Kryptiles is your new podcast. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm going to pick up the bookmark that we left off before we jump into kind of like the business and the market and all that stuff, which is stuff I want to geek on. I do want to talk about setup and maybe where you started and some lessons you learned along the way and where you've landed for now. Because I know it's a constant evolving thing. But give us the nitty gritty. I want to know like all the details you'll share, I guess.
All right. So like how I started and stuff.
Maybe a midway point, where you're at now, and maybe some things that even you're thinking about still changing.
Okay. Yeah. So as far as like, we've done it all, like all the myths online or the misinformation, try it out, learn firsthand what works, and you fail a ton and you waste a ton of money. But like, it's not a waste if you're learning in the process. Like, you can make bad investments, but if you're actively trying to like make your life easier with the geckos or make their life, more fulfilling or whatever, like it's always learning. Like even today, I'm changing stuff all the time. Like whatever makes my life easier, because it takes a lot of work when you like with all these animals, like it's mouths to feed. Like with this, like business. Like we're not selling hats or shirts. Like these things are alive, you know. If you can't, unfortunately, like you don't get a lot of slack. Like if you were to ship out sick animals or unhealthy animals or not up to size. So yeah, no. So long story short, it's just I tried glass tanks, cages, and then I haven't tried PVC, but all my animals are still in plastic bins, honestly.
Tubs. Yeah.
Tubs, yeah.
I think the tubs are amazing. Like I have no qualms about using tubs. So
Yeah.
so hatchlings, are you starting them in a 6 quart or are you going smaller on the start?
No, I do 6. They all
Okay, so
right from the egg to 6 quarts.
And then from 6 to what? 12s?
12.
Yeah, when I jump them up in caging from like hatchlings, whatever that middle caging is like they like sprout like crazy. Like they just grow. It's like 10ish to 20 something grams. It's like you just look at them, like it feels like the next day you look and they're like twice the size. Like I don't know what.
Wow.
I'm trying to figure out why, but yeah, no, it's just the reason I settled on plastic bins is just so much easier to clean and move, and you don't break them. And I would, when I do get to build my facility, I'd definitely get the PVC. That place would be awesome. Like it's like Gecko
for breeders. You mean for breeders?
Right. If you're not breeding geckos, you probably wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah. But man, I went all PVC and I do love it,
Mm-hmm.
but also they kind of suck to clean. I kind of miss cleaning bins.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't miss spraying, like lifting lids off every time you need to do something, but I kind of miss the cleanability of a bin.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, I got a big stainless steel wash sink with like the, meal prep kind of deal, like the blaster, and real hot water and soap and a couple different, cleaning products after. And I'm efficient with the cleaning because like if you get behind on it, you never catch up, it seems. Like just like today I finished up my list of trying to catch up for like before my trip, but like there's something every day that like if you can't really fall behind, or it's tough. Like
How big are your adult bins?
We use 66 quarts.
Okay,
nice.
And we drill holes in all. Well, I drill holes in all of them, and then just
do you
different.
Do a vent? Do you put a vent?
Nope, no vents, just holes.
Okay. Why not a vent for spraying?
I've never liked doing that. It gets all over the place, for me at least. No, we legit take every gecko that's up there down onto our like table. Yep, we can fit 12 across. It's an 8-foot table, and then I have my my friend Danielle, who's helped me with a lot of the stuff. She gets on the other side of the table, 12 out, and we do 3 at a time because these like the little hatchlings, as I'm sure you both know, are very, very fast. So it depends what side of the room I'm on. Like one side is like the bigger geckos, the other side's like the noobs. So like, the bigger ones don't really go anywhere, so you can get like 6 done at a time. But we gotta move and open every lid for every gecko, wow. And there's 1 gecko per bin. So
so you don't nothing gets co-housed. Even your breeders, they're all 1x1s.
No. So let me backtrack a bit. So our breeders are in pairings. So like we usually try to do like 2 females. If say 1 male has like 4 females, say, right? So we'll do like 2 females in one, 2 females in another, and then every other week we swap the male back and forth.
Okay.
And like people say, oh, you shouldn't move them. No, he's fine. He's living the life in there.
Yeah. Have you noticed by the end of the season the males getting a little thinner just from breeding all season, or do they hold weight pretty good?
They hold weight really well. So I just like to fill the food. Like the big thing, live crickets, like
even on the adults,
they don't take them as much, but I still try to offer it. And even if they take 1, it's like, oh yeah, little boost, But
No, I think especially females, man. When you mid-season, females will hammer bugs. People like totally underestimate. They get hungry.
Oh yeah,
the
females
nutrients.
eat a ton. Yeah.
It's
crazy.
So you're doing the shoe boxes and then the mid-tier box, and you're moving about 10 grams. What's the decor in your small bin and your medium bin look like?
So we use I think it's 1-inch PVC pipe, I want to say, or no, I don't know. I'll have to measure it, but basically like the cables, I don't even know what my figures are. I can't do it, but just like PVC pipe, like kind of at an angle up the side, and then fake leaves, enough to, I like to keep the floor pretty much open. Only thing on the floor of the breeders. Oh no, you said the 18s, right? Or mid-size? My bad.
The smalls, you can walk us up all three. That's fine.
Okay, yeah, no, it's something to get them off the ground, like something to climb on, leaves to hide in. Everyone gets a water dish. Everyone, when it's feeding day, they get a food dish, and depending how big they are and if they're female, they'll start to get like a lay box, some sphagnum moss, and start to hide in there and get used to it being in the cage.
And so are you misting all of those boxes like multiple times a week, or are they getting their water from the water bowl?
No, so we feed and mist every other day. So we just like back to the point of changing things around, I finally switched to the magnetic feeding ledges.
Okay.
So
AJD
all all the
I have some of those.
You outed me. Stop.
Yeah, I think I just wiped
them.
out.
I just don't use them.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
All right,
No,
so
that's fine.
Tell us about your magnetic feeding ledges. Yeah.
No, you can rip on them, but they've made my life easier.
I use some of them.
Because I was getting a lot of mold with the paper towels. All of my animals are on paper towels. They get changed as needed, but they would walk, when I was feeding them on the ground, they would walk through their food, and then 2 days later it's starting to mold, and it's just it wasn't practical. So now the idea is they kind of just feed off the paper towels and then kind of climb up in their leaves, where I have like double sets of all the leaves, so I can just pull them out when they get dirty and soak them, put new ones in, and it's better than changing the paper towel every time. So that's kind of why I switched it, but it's working so far. I might hate it by next year, or after a couple weeks.
So I'm curious, because you have a similar sized collection to mine. How much time, like how many man hours do you think it takes to care for the collection per week?
Just
feed, clean, collect eggs, like not sales and marketing, no photography, no shipping, not just care,
cleaning and stuff.
Man hours, not like, so between you and Danielle, like how many hours total do you think it is?
See, that's a tough question, because I hire my mom too to help me. Like at first she wouldn't touch the geckos, but now she's a champ
all over it. Yeah.
She helps me a lot, but to feed them all, let's just say to feed them all with one person, it's probably like 5 hours to do it. And then, every other day, and then it's like, it feels like a 40-hour job, honestly, plus some.
Yeah.
It's a hard question, AJ. I don't really know, because I'm always doing something in between. It's like, oh crap, I got to post to Instagram. It's like, oh, well, I'm soaking these food dishes. You know what I mean? I'm working, 14-hour days just to keep up on stuff. And then you get the worst part of the job is just, for me, is answering messages, and
sales and marketing is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that when you have care things that you could be doing. That I think us all being reptile lovers, that's the thing that we want to do first, is make sure the room is in complete order. But it's hard to ever get it to the point where you're 100% satisfied.
It's pretty much never. I think I've only gotten to 90%, and I'm like, it's close.
Yeah. Where you feel like, oh, I can take a whole day and shoot photos today. It's like,
Right.
no, there's always something to do.
Oh yeah. No, that's one of the things I'm trying to like get better at is I'd never feel like I'm caught up.
Yeah, me
And
either.
you know, I have to have time to just sit down and just shut off and not think about geckos, because it will like and as you guys know, like the market's worldwide, so you have you can be you know, dealing with customers all 24/7 pretty much, you know.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Harry's sending me messages at like 2 a.m. asking me questions.
Because I'm in California. Me too. I bother you too, Kyle. Can I get this one?
Man, this guy named Harry keeps sending me all these messages. I'm like, man,
that's pretty funny. No, it's yeah, that's another. The whole social media part, and
that's a whole other thing that we could talk about.
That's the hardest part for you, huh, Kyle? The messaging and the
it's just the most tedious. It's like you can't you have to stay up on it.
The last thing you like want to do after everything else. At least for me.
Right.
Deal with people. Yeah.
The thing is, it's like, even when say like, it's not easy to take pictures of geckos. Like, you have to fire them up. It's not like you just take them out, snap a picture, you know,
especially when you're trying to maintain like a certain quality of image and of I don't even know how to like brand, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to be sending around a bunch of crappy cell phone pictures to people.
No, I mean, at least for me, I take pride in it, and I want to, you know, put out the best I can out there, and it takes a lot of time, especially like now dipping, like as I'm sure you know, Harry, like editing, and that takes a lot of time. If you're a perfectionist, you're screwed, because like I'm always like tweaking, and it's like, oh my gosh, I need. I've been on this stupid Instagram story for 2 hours, so I kind of just.
So Kyle, you're saying you edit all of your images to make them look better? No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't edit any of them. So yeah, that's a different. Oh man, that's a different topic.
We've talked about this on other podcasts, but
yeah.
That's another whole thing.
Yeah, it's just.
So are you feeling? So what's the next thing? Would you like to get lids gone? Like, is that a goal of yours? Is that not something like?
So, sorry to. What were you gonna add? Anything else after that?
No, I guess I'll ask you that. I guess we'll kind of wrap up like your setup, and then I'll kind of go into some other stuff. But I'm just curious, like, because I came from doing all lids. I can just tell you my own experience when I went from lids just on shoe boxes. When I went on lids to no lids, it probably saved me an hour feeding just on shoe boxes.
Yeah,
to get them racked up.
Yeah, I mean, when I get my facility, like all the it's just gonna be like a wall of hatchlings, all rack, you know, no lids.
On rack. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Floor to ceiling. You know, I've even thought of like getting like a library system, you know, like a sliding ladder. That'd be kind of cool. But well, I'm not gonna go crazy, but yeah, no, I know right now how I'm feeding them is not like the most efficient. So
yeah. But one thing I do miss about lidded shoe boxes, I feel like you get a real kind of like hands-on with each animal. Sometimes in the rack, it's easy to just like spray and put a food dish in and not look at the gecko every time. Yeah. So I've just had to implement like at least once a week, I pull the bin out to clean it and to see the animal and to like make sure everything's going well. And but I think that some people do switch to the lidless system and kind of lose connection with the animals.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not like about the connect, but I do like seeing them. Like, even though they jump out of their cage most of the time, and I gotta catch them, but Danielle always gets mad at me because I let them just run around, like not all at once. Like I'll let one kind of run on the table while I'm feeding, and then I'll just he's getting some exercise, free range gecko. Like I don't worry about, like if he jumps on the floor, I'm like crap.
Or don't you love when they get like behind your whole rack of stuff and you're like, oh,
that just
spend
happened
20
yesterday.
minutes trying to like pull all this stuff out to get behind and get this animal.
Oh man,
it happens to me about 3 times a week and it's horrible.
Yeah, I've caught geckos from pretty much everywhere upstairs, so It happens.
Funny,
Nope,
man.
but I've never lost one, so knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
There's
All
always
right.
time to.
So I'll do a little bit of a transition here, Kyle. So I want to
Sure.
talk a little bit about just the hobby as like from a market standpoint, where you think the hobby's going. I know that we've talked a lot about. I tried to ask this to a lot of different people because there's a lot of different perspective on
Yeah.
maybe trends of animals that are, kind of sneaking up on, what we're getting asked for a lot, maybe don't have available for people, or maybe even I feel like you and I are similar in that we get these visions of an animal 10 years from now that we need to kind of take steps ABC to make a long time from now.
Yeah.
And so first question is, where do you think the hobby's kind of going from a market standpoint? I know we've kind of been living in the land of tricolors for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's starting to decline, where it's not the only thing people ask for anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just curious, from your standpoint. Obviously, we're in this land of xanthics and fraps and caps and all this different stuff. But
Yeah.
I'll let you answer kind of what you think or foresee kind of where the market's going.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly my favorite part of it right now is I think the market's insane right now. Like it's never been, at least from my experience, I won't speak for anyone else, but it's insane. Incredibly like promising for the future of Cresteds, like to keep growing. Like if anything, like all these new things popping out are gonna keep this going for a while, in my opinion. And Cresteds are still growing in popularity. I've been talking to a few people, and some other countries are starting to open up as far as exporting, and once they get on the, because right now, with like all the exporting stuff, like there's there's, I feel like most of the world doesn't really have geckos, so like you're talking whole countries as well, like even like Japan, or pick any country like that gets in on the craze and starts like everyone's seen Korea just explode with Cresteds. Like I think it's gonna keep growing, and I'm really excited for the future, honestly. Like that's what keeps me going. Like there's a lot of possibilities, and it's, to me, if you're like, now's a great time to get Cresteds. Like they're still growing. Like there's still a lot of misinformation. The market's just, it's crazy right now. So
when you say misinformation, what are some of the biggest things that you see out there that maybe, I don't want to like invoke frustration, but things that maybe you think are not helpful that are commonly spread?
like as far as like other people or stuff about like,
Well, just how you're saying, like there's just a lot of like misinformation or maybe things that people are reading or talking about. Is it mainly just about morphs and things like that, or what were you referring to?
no, it's just about like naming things. Like I don't, to me, if when it comes down to it, if the gecko looks nice to me, I don't really care what you call it. And I have a lot of people saying, "Oh, this person told me this is this, this, and this." It's like I don't know any of those. Like, creamsicle, and like, it's like the only thing that confuses me is all the different terminology.
Okay.
It's like tigers and brindles and super brindles and super. It's like I just don't. It just kind of confuses people more than it has to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
there's a lot of information out there that's just like he said, she said. It's just or just these Facebook groups.
The biggest problem is everybody thinks their way is right. But that's not the problem. The problem is that they want to tell you how to do it, do it their way. I like, just do it how you want to do it. If it works for your animals and your animals are healthy, it doesn't matter how AJ keeps his animals, or Harry, how you keep, like,
Yeah. The end result is what matters. If we can make animals that are healthy and happy and grow well and shed well and do well. And
Yeah, for
everybody's
sure.
context is different. Like somebody in Arizona is going to keep them way different than somebody in Florida. And somebody
Yeah.
in like where I live and where you live are going to keep them different. So care
Right.
is
And
very subjective.
that's the problem. So if anyone asks me, like, my opinion, I'll tell them, but I'll say, you got to experiment with your area. I would have to know every single detail about where your geckos are.
Yeah.
Location in your house, what, you know what I mean?
Ambient humidity, temperature, airflow.
Right. Like we talked to AJ before, like you're in the basement, in the upstairs, like our humidity levels are totally different in our rooms, and you're in the Carolinas, right?
Yep. North Carolina. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So totally different than Massachusetts,
We don't
So I
get that
can't,
harsh winter.
yeah, I tell people, like, you got to really like study your room. Like if you're trying to do a temperature controlled room, or smaller scale where you're gonna artificially heat a Cresty somehow, like there are ways. I don't recommend it, but
if you're gonna heat the whole room.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that's to me. But
back to that, what is your ambient temp in your rooms? I'm curious.
77 right now. Only so the hatchlings and the breeders are in the same room, and it's hotter in there. And then I cool off females in another room that I keep it around 70 to kind of cool them off. And then I'll raise it up a little to kind of start packing on the pounds. Yeah. Try to like initiate a feeding response and get them back up and give them a good, like, I cycle. So I never do like a full breeding season. I kind of just cycle through. Nice. And depending so that you always on each have female,
animals all year. And
and females can get a proper rest, and they bounce back really quick when you feed them properly and give them a chance to just bounce back, because laying eggs is super hard on them. Like when they crash hard.
Yeah. So after a season, you kind of, after a female is done laying the clutch of however many, then you just cool them off for next season. Is that usually how you run?
So yeah, unless like I feel like they need a whole year off with some of the older ones, you know how it goes. Like, but the younger ones, I kind of go off, like, everything's in spreadsheets. So I kind of look at the end of the year, look at each female, how they did, like if they're struggling. A lot of first time egg layers have issues, like with calcification, all that jazz. So just try to get as much data as possible, and like why things happen in my collection. I just want to know, like, the more data I collect, the better everything is. So that's just how I don't know about you guys, but that's how I like to. Yeah. Because I don't personally like reading things online. I want to know for myself, Yeah. A lot of myths online I've seen, I've proven wrong here, like as far as water dishes. I watch them drink out of water dishes all the time. And supposedly Cresteds don't drink out of water, which water dishes,
that's a lie.
Yeah. I've seen, I see them all the time, like just chilling. Like they'll be in the in a hot tub or something, just chilling in the water dish. Like, oh, and then they'll leave you a nice surprise in it, and it's like,
and you got to clean it.
Yep. But
that's fun, man.
Yeah, I feel like my collection has a pretty good life. Like, at least they know I'm gonna be. At least the geckos know I'm gonna be constantly trying to make it better. Nice. And I can't promise I won't fail or mess up, but
just kind of general, like your way that you're doing your business strategy, or just like how you're approaching the business. So whether that's all right, I want to have, like I think about my business and, for example, like pillars. So I'm, I've got Dalmatians, I've got this, I've got that, I've got all these other things, whatever. If you're going to do, let's just talk about animals, I guess, specifically, but obviously we have ventures outside of animals only, but I guess we can just talk about animals specifically.
So my thing is I want geckos for everybody. Like I want price ranges for beginners, kids, all the way up to, us, high end, whatever you want to call them, like I want a little bit of everything. And I try to do my best to like differentiate. Like Danielle loves yellows and reds. I don't personally like either of them. That's just me. But she's right, and it's nice to have and offer, and people do like it. Like when I first started looking at Cresteds, I thought Halloweens were the coolest thing. I love the contrast. I love the bright orange and the black, and that was what drew me. I'm like, oh, cool. These things are awesome. And then you come to find out Halloweens are like, I don't hear Halloween anymore. Like
nobody wants Halloweens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I occasionally get the question, but it's normally from somebody who does not know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And then as far as like the quantity, like I feel really comfortable with how many making and the collection size right now.
Yeah.
I could
How many females would you say you're breeding?
We're usually around 40.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we were at. We were right under 40 last year, and then we're right under this year again. But we've added a few later runs. Sorry.
Sorry. I was just wondering if AJ has the same size, around 40 female.
I have historically been about that. I'm going to be higher, but part of that is just providing animals for like my auction and stuff like that. Because of that, I need a little bit more consistent supply. So that's the only difference. But I would say like kind of my core animals is probably like in that 40 to 50 on Cresteds.
Are you
the way it's been for a long time.
Are you at capacity on your collection, or could you grow like in your space?
I could grow a bit. I also could grow a lot more if I chose to do less species. Like I'm probably going to downsize some of my like side projects a little bit and designate that time towards crested geckos. Just because there's so many more things that I'm excited to do now, where before I was like, the excitement came from working with, Australian geckos and working with, the Eurodactylotes and doing all the cave geckos. And I think where like I'll go in the future is I'll kind of narrow that down to what I really am like really, really into. And then I'll probably devote a lot more of my time into my crested project. So I think it will grow a bit. But man, it's a lot of work already. I need an employee if I'm going to grow anymore. I'm already like, I'm overkill.
You're maxed out. Kyle, are you planning on growing your collection further?
Yeah, when I get a facility, I'd like to just keep it going. It depends. Like, sorry,
you're maxed out right now.
He just asked if you're like maxed out right
now. Pretty close. Yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah. I've been luckily like moving them out pretty regularly. So, but.
Is there, I'm curious because I think you do a good job of this. I think of like you and I think of Chase and a couple other people where like when an animal's ready to go, like you don't want it to stick around too long. Like you want to make that slot available. Do you have an opinion on keeping animals to bigger sizes versus selling them at a sellable, like a healthy sellable small size? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I would like to sell adults, but I don't have that luxury at the moment.
Okay.
As far as
that
spacing.
Something you would maybe try to do when you move into your building in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at least have a steady supply of adult animals going. And honestly, I'd like to even have like a supply of wholesale animals. I have a lot of requests for hundreds of geckos. I've never had that many to go at one time. So, so it wouldn't be bad. There seems to be a market for that as well. A lot of pet stores are, people are eating up Cresteds everywhere. So not literally, let's be real.
You get that question a lot though. Why are people buying these things? They eating them? No. What do you think?
That's an expensive snack.
I know. Somebody asked me. So I was just at Atlanta, the Atlanta show. And somebody asked me, they pointed to like $1,000 gecko and they said, do people keep these for pets or are they just food for snakes? And really? I said, this would be a very expensive meal for a snake.
$1,000.
Yeah, $1,000 for a gecko that weighs 4 grams.
Yeah, but... no. I actually, when I say like, oh yeah, a lot of my customers are in Korea, they go, oh yeah, do they eat them? I go, no,
Yeah,
no,
classic racist Korean joke. Great.
no. I go,
I get
no,
that. I
they.
get that all the time too. Trust me.
Oh man,
I
there's a
feel
lot of jokes like
never
that.
fails. It's like they go, well, where do you send them? I go, oh, all over the world, like big market in Korea, and they go, oh. So
Do they
I
eat
was
them?
like,
Yeah, I'm like, what is wrong with you? I swear, if you say you ship geckos to Korea,
Oh,
8 out of 10 times somebody will say, "Do they eat them?" And
you know?
like you can predict it. It's like
yep.
every time you tell somebody you have geckos, they'll make a Gecko joke every time.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's no excuse.
My
That's
aunts
funny.
can't say the word gecko. They say, "How are
So
the geckos doing?" I go, "I don't know. I
The
don't
guy goes,
have a house full of insurance policies or something like."
it is so
No,
funny, Harry.
gecko.
Once you get to like the point where everybody knows that you do this, you will hear the same questions we all hear, and it's.
I'll let you know. I'm trying to hold that off,
And then
making
the
sure
next
nobody
thing
not
is
everyone
they
knows.
ask you how many do you have, and then I'll tell them like 700 to 1,000. Then the next question is always, do they ever get out? Like they all get out in the house? Like, what do you think? They're in one room where if I leave the door open, there's 1,000 loose in the house?
Yeah, no, literally people think
That's funny,
they
man.
like free roam in the room. Like
I know
all of
it's
them, like
crazy.
not in a cage. They just are in the room just chilling
Hanging out
and oh, you got to sneak out and shut the door before they all like they're like
like a dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like
Man, I really want to make a Gecko memes page where it's just like all the stupid stuff that people that don't know anything about reptiles say to me about my geckos.
yeah.
in
Just
love,
give him
but
that sheet.
it's still, man, it's so funny.
That's just funny to me because like the Cresty community, it feels fairly big, but literally the majority of people have no idea what a crested gecko
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Like the
Absolutely.
most people I run into, they've never seen them, like
Most people at a
which
show
is
don't even know. Like they'll walk up to a table and they'll point to an animal and they'll say, what is this?" And I'll
yeah,
say, "Oh, it's a crested gecko." And then the first thing they say is always, "Oh, a gecko." They don't even know that
They
it's
don't know what a
they
crested
don't
gecko
even
is.
know
Yeah.
that it's a gecko,
right. It's
which is
the gecko. It's the
yeah.
only species of gecko. Yeah,
I think that's
Yeah.
true. I think nobody within my circles knows what a gecko
And then
is.
they'll point to
Yeah.
a crested gecko, and then they'll point to like a leaf tail gecko from Australia that looks completely different. And they're like, "Well, then
Yeah.
what is this?" And I'm like,
yeah.
"That's also a
That's a
gecko."
that's
And
a
they're like,
gecko.
"What?"
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
funny. Yeah. Well, I think that's exciting because it's growing and people don't quite know what it is yet, and
Yeah.
yet
Yeah,
more and more people are coming into the hobby, right? And so I think there's so much room for growth in the hobby, like you were saying, Kyle.
yeah. And
So
the other thing too is when it's like, oh, the struggling economy, and then there was COVID a couple years ago and all that, and the thing is like you being worldwide you kind of like it's not something I honestly am concerned about. Anything can happen and anything will happen, but as of right now I'm pretty confident, like this is what I do full time, so if it were to
Right.
crash and burn then I'd have some decisions to make, but I'm pretty comfortable and confident in like the future, and
yeah,
I'm
that's awesome.
super pumped to see what people make moving forward. Like
Yeah,
I
That's
can't
awesome,
wait,
man.
everybody.
You and me both.
exciting. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
so
Keep hearing it. Yeah.
yeah, so keep going and just yeah, now's the time to jump in.
So
It's
I'll
fun.
ask you a fellow full-time gecko person to gecko person
All right.
question. So as far as like balance in your life, do you feel like you have it right now, or do you feel like you live gecko life 24/7?
I don't feel like I have any balance. I
Okay. Does that
it's
bother
it's
you?
it's getting to the point, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it doesn't bother me so much as I just need to be better at relaxing. Because, like you said,
Mm,
at the end of the day, there's always going to be something to do. It's
mm,
getting the important stuff done, and
mhm.
but also making time. Like in your house is different too. It's like you can't get away.
Yeah.
Like I could go downstairs and then go upstairs and start working again, like at any time I
Mm,
Yeah.
want, 2 in the morning, midnight. Like I
mm.
I'm excited for Tinley to get a little trip, and then after Tinley, my schedule is slowing down considerably, and I have some awesome people to help me and with like
Cool.
the day to day stuff, so I can really start to like because I love, like, I don't necessarily like corresponding with everyone, but I do like that aspect of the job. Like, I think it's fun, all the behind the scenes stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure you do. Like you said before, like I have like my 1 year plan, my 5 year plan, 10 year plan. Like they're all, in my eyes, achievable and different. So it's gonna be fun.
It's so interesting how even like my own 1 year plan is so different than like my 5 year plan is so big picture versus my 1 year plan is pretty short sighted, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because this business, what people don't realize, and even like I talk to my wife about this sometimes, and when I went full time, this was exaggerated, but you're so focused on like, oh, I've got this project upcoming, but you're feeding and looking at these animals all day every day, so it's just like, man, this is taking forever. Like time drags when you are doing it all day, and you're like, not the care time, but like, oh, I'm waiting for this animal to go from 2 grams to like breedable. Like a year is a long time, or a year and a half is a long time when you're looking at that animal every day.
Right. And so I kind of like, I've found it where I kind of like, I won't specifically look at a few for a while, and then I'll be like, I want it to be a surprise. I'll be like, oh, look at, like, that's progressing like crazy, or one just like has a glow up or something, and it looks, you're like, where did you come from? Like, I try not to watch them grow. You know, like when I first started with, but you want them to. Like, I wanted Starbucks to get big so fast.
Yeah, like I'm looking at my Xanthic all the time. Yeah. Like my Xanthic is like my only animal I weigh.
Yeah.
Like, did I weigh like regularly?
You have it next to your bed, feeding it crickets every night.
I'm literally, I'm like, it's got a cage right next to my, kitchen table, and I'm feeding it as I'm eating dinner. No.
Giving it steak.
Yeah. And for the record, I separate Kyle life from the Gecko life as best I can. Like, no, I don't have stuff in my living court. You know what I mean? It's kind of like separated, because they are animals, and I love animals, have dogs and stuff, but I do like to have its own space. It's not like, I'm sure the same with you, AJ. It's all
I'm
contained.
literally, I mean, I'm like in the same, I feel like you and I are almost in the exact same point in business, and like your animals are upstairs, mine are downstairs. There's no animals in my living space. Mm-hmm. There's animals in my downstairs, and I have short-term plans to get them out of my house too. Yeah. So we're kind of in a similar spot. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, like I just need a facility, and that's the goal, and that's what I'm growing towards and moving towards. And
is there a size of a building you're kind of eyeing up?
No, it's gonna depend where I go. So I'm not gonna buy a house in New England. I'm gonna go south. I'm looking at like Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, like like down there where, like, I hate the cold. I if I never saw snow again, I'd be happy. But and then,
amen, brother.
And then if I like, just climate wise for the geckos, like the heating bill here, oil and stuff is just nuts. So there's really nothing for me here. Like you can do this anywhere in the country. You just got to be close to a FedEx.
Yeah.
So that's super awesome in my eyes, because it opens up where you have freedom to go where it's convenient for you. So yeah, I'll be out of here. I'll be somewhere closer to you guys.
Is that
not Harry?
Not California.
Well, I went Chicagoland area to North Carolina, and I'll tell you, big upgrade. Sorry, Illinois folks, I'm offending you, but you should move too. I'll tell everybody.
Oh, man.
No, I won't. I've already decided I won't buy a house in Massachusetts. Like, no, there's a million different factors to that, but no, it doesn't make sense for me. And I don't know I haven't settled on any place yet. I'm going to go down and visit a bunch and
well, if you come down to North Carolina, you can visit a lot of people.
Gabby and Brett are trying with Morph Menadri are trying to get me down there to visit. And I know you're like right there.
Yeah, I'm about an hour from them. And then if you want to go check out the mountains, we could go and hang out with Sundown Reptiles, Brian. I know like Will and Audra are in South Carolina, Flawless. There's just a lot of people around, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of other breeders around. So
The other thing too is there's no like they have the New England Reptile Expo, which is I think it's in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
But they have it a couple times a year, but it's not like not for me or us. Like we wouldn't, you're looking for people that are just looking around, I'm sure you guys vend or Harry, do you vend shows or?
No, I go to the show, all the local shows. I don't vend yet. Maybe in a couple years. Yeah.
But I mean, you're getting people that just kind of look around. Like when I was a kid, my parents would bring me to look, which I don't have anything against, but for my time and I'm like an hour and a half from there.
Time.
Yeah,
because to actually vend a show probably takes you of your week 30 hours.
Yeah,
like of like actual like time you would be like in the room or between packing animals, driving, being there all day. Like it's
I don't know how everyone does like shows every weekend. I don't like vending shows. I really don't.
Yeah, no, that's fair. My goal is to eventually vend as few shows as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. So
I would just vend one a year.
My target's like
now. We'll
4.
see how it goes.
I think I probably do like 8 a year now, but I want to do like 4.
Yeah.
Just vend the flora fauna and you guys are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was fun.
Yeah. It was good. So, what, I guess, so you talked about like the work-life balance. Is there something that's like the hardest? I guess I'll ask like the thing you like doing the most and the thing you dislike doing dislike the most doing. In your kind of day to day, like from maybe not from a photography or talking to people, but like just like tasks or whatever. We try to paint a picture for people that are new, maybe of what this life actually looks like. So
sure. All right. Well, the thing I hate the most is easy. So, like once a month, swap out all the like supplies out of all the cages. Everything, cages, lids, everything in the cage, just a full swap. So I have like 2 or 3 sets of everything. So that whole process sucks, but it's cleaning up. It's like washing all the stuff after that I dread. Like my washroom is like stacked floor to ceiling, and then it's like you gotta climb out of it. But yeah, that's what I hate the most. I know the cleaning, like anything. So like if you let the food sit too long, you've seen the Pangeas, the complete.
Oh yeah.
Gecko
do you have
diet.
Fruit flies or not?
You know what's funny is I got no fruit flies at all this year.
What?
I don't know.
You are lucky, man.
I know.
So many.
It freaking sucks.
I had them terribly the last couple of years too, and I have no idea why. No idea.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you see this light right here? That's one of those machines, and then I have one in front of me here.
Dude, those don't work for me.
Oh, they don't. What do you use?
You can't beat them until the temperature drops outside and the air humidity gets dropped by the heat, that you can't, like, I can't stop them, because when one or two gets in somehow, then it's all back again. Like it's so hard.
Yeah. All of a sudden you've seen like the little larva, whatever you want to call them, like in the food. It's like they happen, like it's super fast. How fast?
I mean, the larvae will be crawling. They'll lay the eggs within, like, when you put the food dish in, they've laid the eggs in the first like half hour you've put it in.
Yeah.
And then like there's larva by like 24 hours later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then by the time you clean it, or refeed it 2 days later, like they're moving. So
yeah, not a fan, but yeah, sorry you guys had to deal with that.
It sucks, man. It sucks.
No,
it's terrible.
Good.
I don't know why. I've always had them. Like I had a few here and there, but you're talking like last year was bad. Like,
did you do anything different?
No, I didn't. I don't know.
Man. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it was a wicked drought here and stuff. And we actually pretty much every flying insect it seemed like they all started swarming like later. Like we had like a plague of houseflies like last week, like thousands of them. I had no idea like where they came from, but yeah, it's just no fruit flies, but houseflies.
I think I think dry weather is what holds them at bay. like
Yeah.
dry
California's
exterior
in a
weather.
drought right now, so there's a ton of flying things.
Pretty sure like mosquito. I don't know about all of them, but like mosquitoes, they're activated by water pretty much. Like they'll lay dormant for a while, and then all of a sudden you have an infestation. So
Yeah.
Well, are you gonna do anything different for the fruit flies next year?
It's a good question. So the hard part is the thing that I'm dealing with is, so even if I pull food cups early, what happens is, so I mean, I'm having to like, because I'm cleaning my cups, and then obviously I'm like washing larvae down like my slop sink and stuff. But then I'm like having to like bleach my slop sink drains, trying to like fruit fly larvae don't even really die from bleach.
Nope.
Like it's crazy. Like I don't even know what kills them. So it's like, even if I'll run like 150-degree water down my drain for like 30 minutes after I clean cups, trying to just like flush it as far down the line and as hot as I possibly can.
You'll get them coming back up.
I don't know. That's like a theory. I've never actually seen them flying out of the drain. But
just for good measure.
I think the only real, if I'm actually being honest, I think the only real way to like truly beat them is to clean so much that you could never actually do it. Like you'd have to clean, like, because fruit fly, this is gross, but fruit flies don't only lay larvae in food, they'll lay larvae in gecko poop. So like straight into the poop of a gecko. They just need moisture is what they need to be able to thrive. So it's like the poop of a gecko is fruit. It's a bunch of fruit. Or they'll also like, the larva will, like, if you have a cricket that dies in the cage, they will lay larvae in a dead cricket. And that larva will develop there. So it's like you almost have to keep your cages completely spotless, and you need to throw your caps out like in a black garbage bag and take them to the trash. But that it's just so much plastic waste. I can't bring myself to do it.
Just embrace them. They don't really hurt anything. They're just annoying.
They don't.
Extra
other
protein.
than I feel like the geckos would eat the food the second day, but once the flies like start, they must do something to the smell or the flavor of the food, because they don't really touch it after the flies start. Like once the larva
they break it down or something.
Yeah,
so they don't eat the larva in the food.
No, like once the larva starts any development in the food, they like don't eat it at all.
Got it. Yeah.
Where before, when I didn't have fruit fly larvae, it's like, oh, day 2, they're still kind of looking at it and they're still checking it out, but they pretty much only eat it the night I feed it now. So that's something that kind of drives me a little crazy.
Yeah, my geckos never seem to touch food the second night.
Really?
If it's like you feed them, they either eat it, and I try to pull it out of there as fast as possible. But
do you pull it the next day, or do you pull it the next feeding?
I pull it the next feeding.
Okay, that's what I do too.
When I had fruit flies, I kind of had to try to remove the food as fast as possible, but that didn't work.
On I'm way off my outline at all here, but I'm just curious. When you're feeding, are you feeding like on juvenile geckos? Are they feeding bugs every feeding? Is it every like once a week? What's your
no? So we alternate days with crickets and Pangea. Obviously, we don't do them all in one day, but we have like different sections that we'll hit. So essentially, it breaks down to they're getting crickets twice a week. And then they're getting offered Pangea like 3 to 4 usually. 3 to 4 nights.
Okay, so even when you're feeding bugs, you're also giving them diet. Yep. There's never a feeding where they're not getting diet.
No, so one day I alternate though. So one day I'll do the Pangea, the next day crickets.
Oh, so they're getting fed every day?
Yeah.
Basically? Okay.
Yep, certain ones. Like the thing is they like some days they don't eat the Pangea like at all. So to me, the crickets are a constant. They love the crickets, and live insects is huge as far as growth rates.
Have you ever tried? I want to experiment on this next year. I want to raise juvenile geckos on only crickets and see how they do.
Yeah, that's a thing with like the data. Just why not
I mean,
like you could take 2 geckos, only crickets, only Pangea.
oh my gosh, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be a horrible comparison for Pangea. For any liquid diet, it would be a horrible comparison.
You get like a skinny geckos.
You'd have a gecko that'd be a year old and 7 grams, and people would be like, and then you'd have a gecko that's 8 months old and full grown on crickets only.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the growth rate with live insects regularly is more than like 50%. I would say.
But doesn't that tell you something? Like I love the products. I love the liquid diets. But these animals need insects. Like when people say to me, "Oh, you don't need to feed them any bugs," I'm like, "That's not true."
Yeah. No,
what about cricket powder? Putting cricket powder into you're supplementing it into the Pangea. Does that work?
It helps. Does it replace? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Kyle?
Oh, definitely. To me, it doesn't replace it at all. Because at least with the crickets, you're watching them eat them.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see them licking the cup once in a while, but like Pangea is just like, oops, they're just like, you're just offering it on a schedule, hoping that they eat. Like, I don't know how many times they eat, you know? Yeah. I've never watched them so, you know, a lot of people don't ever see them eat. So if it's at night or whatever, and a lot of time the Pangea is untouched and you throw most of it away.
That sucks. I hate that.
Yeah, I literally must throw away hundreds of pounds of Pangea. Like when you think about it, even, you know, because I just fill the cups because, you know, just squirt bottle, little silicone caps and give it to them. But
it's horrible. It's like, I wish there was a better like closed loop system. Like I produce so much liquid food waste that there's no way for me to even like feed it all to roaches or like it's not even possible. There's too much.
Yeah.
Like I guess in theory, maybe I can't even compost it. I don't even know what I'd do with it.
Always
goes down the drain pretty much.
Yeah. But it's I guess it's just an expense associated. That and paper towels and
until someone comes up with something better. Yeah. It's just part of the game, it seems.
It's called insects, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Kyle, so you know we're talking a little bit about business. You want to build this or move into a facility eventually? That's kind of your long-term goal. Is that long-term 5 years down, or is it more closer than you think it is? You know, you hope, or what's that look like?
I'm hoping by 5 years. Like it's like the goal, but I want it to be sooner than that. Like if it could be a year, like if I can just do what I got to do, the sooner the better for me. There's really nothing really tying me here, and it doesn't make any sense. You know, it's not practical to be here with what I do with the geckos.
Yeah, and you want to move in just to grow the operations and to kind of scale up. Is that right?
Yeah. As far as like when this facility comes, you know, hire more help and eventually, like if I could have people to kind of take care of the day to day, and then obviously that'd be the goal. But I'll always be in there with the geckos, but I do like photographing them, and I like doing the like behind the scenes work without like having the basic care stuff is obviously tedious, but like the other stuff is actually a lot of fun, like naming them or there's a lot of fun
putting the projects together.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it, but we like take pictures of all the breeders and then put them up on the wall and try to like figure out pairings, and that stuff's fun to me. Or like be like, whoa, that's like future pairing, like
So for you, you're more of like the visionary. It sounds like, in the sense of like you want this to happen, and then you want to see these morphs and create this and this and this. But the day to day, it's just kind of tedious. Eventually, you want to farm that out or to other people to work on.
Yeah. Just like if I could have them fed, even just feeding and misting them would be huge for me because it takes a chunk out of your day. Do you have any help, AJ, with your collection?
Not currently. I get some help from my parents when I'm like really bogged down. But I think that will probably be a next year thing of at least having like a part-time person to be able to help me with cleaning and feeding. for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing you can teach somebody how to do.
Yeah. Well,
and in my past career, I worked at an animal wholesaler, and I worked with some other folks there, so that was nice. So I do think that is something that I'll work towards, especially once the animals are out of the house. I don't really want somebody in my house personally. Like an employee like in my house hanging out. I'm like, I kind of want to get these out of my house so that at least there's a little bit of separation of like work, and because that would feel like I really don't have any separation if I have like an employee walking around my house, you know.
Yeah,
that would be a little weird. But
even working with family, it's the same deal. Sometimes you just don't want people in your house. That's why it'd be nice to have a facility. Just walk into the house, shut the door, be like, no, you're not coming in here.
Yeah, so Kyle, like, you know, as you kind of grow and expand, is there like a marker, not just like that you have a facility, but whether it's revenue or whether it's like doubling the size of your breeders? Is there like an ending to it, or are you just kind of taking it as you go?
No, I try to plan ahead for, you know, the most important stuff, but I also like just going with the flow. Like,
okay,
you can plan it. From what I've seen with Cresteds, it's very unpredictable. You can have the best intentions, the best plans, and then there's a wrench in them that happens. So
or some new gene comes along and you're like, man, I really want to work with that.
Exactly. You're like, I'm not buying any more geckos ever. And then, well, there's all my money.
Yeah.
But
for sure. That's cool, man. So any other future plans and projects? We talked a lot about your fraps and kind of things like that, and eventually maybe a sable if you could get your hands on one. But anything else that you're looking forward to, excited about for the future?
All of it, really, but I'll narrow it down. I'm still super pumped about the Axanthic project, the potential of Axanthic lily whites. I just want to see one in person. Well, I did actually get to see one at the Flora Fauna show with AJ.
Nice. Who had one?
Josh.
It was Jerk, right?
Yeah, Josh.
He's not a jerk. His company's Jerk.
Yeah.
He's actually a nice guy, Josh. Yeah.
I need to tell Josh, you got to change your name because you're a really nice guy. And people are, you know, I'm just kidding. Everybody makes jerk jokes. So it's like, man, you're such a nice guy.
Josh.
He was wicked nice. But yeah, he had one there and they're just awesome. Cool. But the still heavy in the super Dalmatians and the red spots and all that. And yeah, honestly, one of my most exciting things is the different colored lilies I was talking about, like the different white colors. Like there's a lot. Like we have one male that has like neon yellow coloration for his lily white patterning, and it's awesome. Like it just looks like a highlighter Sharpie. Like it's really cool. So I'm excited to mix that in with like other stuff. Because like cool. If you think about it, like all the high white kick, right? Everybody wants high white. So why couldn't you take everything that has high white, but then put in like bright orange white? You know what I'm like, orange tinted white.
Yeah.
Then you have a whole new ball game. You know.
Yeah, I've got some of that highlighter yellow lily that popped out in my collection. I've also got like what people describe as tangerine, but I've never bought an animal from that source. So I'd assume it's just the same thing, but stuff that popped here.
Sure.
But I'm hatching lilies that come out where like they're orange out of the egg too. It's crazy. It's probably some of the stuff you're seeing too. But yeah, lilies are not over. Anybody that thinks they are is crazy. They are just the surface has been scratched, and like phantom lily whites are insane. There's so much that can be done.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. Like I don't feel like any real morph is super like cashed out. Like I think there's room to work with all of them with the right project, you know. The world, like right now, the market's flooded with, you know, pet quality geckos, but with how the market's changing, like you're gonna have all these heavy hitting morphs, you know, for a while. Like people aren't even really like releasing sables, or you know, caps are pretty rare, and fraps I haven't really seen a frap for sale, you know.
Yeah.
But So maybe like, who knows, like the tricolor kick will like slow down where that starts like coming down in price. I don't really know what people are gonna be into. That's
it changes all the time, man. Because like for example, like yellows I breed yellows, and it's like 1 year super hot, next year can't sell them.
Right.
So
they'll come back.
They will, yeah. But it's just it's one of those things where it's like we always tell, like one of the things we always say in like our next section that we'll ask you is like advice for new breeders. Like something we always say is like breed what you like, within reason of like don't breed utter like ugly crappy geckos because you're probably not going to be able to sell them. But within reason, like if you pick a niche and you like actually try to do it excellent, in an excellent manner, people will enjoy it and people will buy them. So
yeah, I agree.
So moving to that, our last section we always do in our interviews, Kyle, is that we ask advice for new breeders. So you're relatively new, but I guess if you looked back on yourself 4 to 5 years ago or 4 to 5 seasons ago with the knowledge you have now, what would you tell yourself?
Good question. I would probably be better at choosing my breeders at first. Like I don't have any of my original breeding, seasons. So, but it's an ever growing thing, I didn't, besides that, like, I'll just say to stick with it, like ups and downs, like just don't get discouraged. Like I had things come up when I first started that I thought were like end of the world. Like my first infestation with like, fruit flies per se, or like, have you guys ever had like the fungus gnats or like the little tiny?
I've not had fungus gnat yet. Luckily.
Yeah. It's like, you think everything's the end of the world and that your collection's in trouble, but if as long as you're like up on it, you gotta just take, go with the flow. So I would just be more patient, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And just a side question, did you go full-time more recently?
2 years. Yeah.
2 years. Okay. So
it's kind of by force.
2 years or so.
Yeah.
I was like
during COVID. During COVID,
yeah.
they my last job laid me off, then they brought me back quick and laid me off again. So I was like, I guess I'm doing geckos.
Just doing the Cresteds.
Like I had a little time to kind of get like, it was rough for a while. Like I didn't really want to breed these things like to this extent. That was never my goal, but they are fun and addicting, and here I am.
Yeah. You didn't look back.
Yeah.
So
no looking back. I'm a very like addictive personality. Like when I get in on something, I'm all the way in. So like Cresteds was just like, go like buy as many as possible. But
that's awesome, man. Oh, man. Well, we'll let you kind of plug yourself here. Where can people find you? Where do you want people to be following you? And we'll let you kind of do that.
Sure. Yeah. So Kryptiles, like you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. We're on Morph Market. We have TikTok. We got to be better with that, but especially like check us out on YouTube. Like we're gonna start that journey. Like I'd like to speak to both of you guys on there eventually. So
for sure, man.
I think it will be fun and like a different like wrinkle to like videos. So bring everybody together, have some fun, learn something about AJ and Harry that people don't know, and like we're all normal people. Like for the first time, I got to meet everybody at Flora Fauna, and everyone's just normal people. It was nice, and I hadn't met anybody. I'm pretty like anonymous. Like I don't get out there much with like myself, with the business, but I'll be at Tinley too. We're going to be working with Pangea at their booth and saying hi, and pretty much just getting to meet everyone. Like if you see a Kryptile shirt, come say hi, and I'll see you guys there. And I can't wait,
Yeah, man.
I'm leaving next Thursday. I'll fly in and my first Tinley. So
we'll hang out for sure. And if you need a spot to go to dinner or whatever with the group, hit us up.
Oh, you're going to buy me dinner?
No,
you don't
I
have
didn't
to buy
say
me dinner.
That.
You said if you need dinner.
I'll buy AJ dinner.
It depends on how the show goes.
Yeah.
Come on. What about McDonald's or something?
Yeah, I'll
Like,
buy
or
you
just
some
something
McDonald's.
cheap.
There's
McChicken or something.
there's a Culver's right across the street. I'll get you a
Oh,
Culver's
nice. Yeah.
Butterburger.
That's
Man,
funny.
that's funny. Oh, Kyle, so it's gonna be your first Tinley.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
First of
awesome.
many.
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll vend, so I don't really have plans to vend many shows. Like, I do want to. Gabby will probably get mad at me if I don't mention Flora Fauna, but that's the only show of the year that we vend, and last year was the first one. AJ was there. It was a good time. So
yeah, man.
Plan to do it again. So yeah, we'll. I'll be sharing. You should, take a trip.
Yeah.
But
Tinley's my first one, so we'll see.
Yeah,
man, this Tinley is gonna be crazy. There's so many people coming that have never come before. Like,
really,
this is the first one. Like, I know probably 20 people going that have never been before, which is crazy. So
the big namers are first timers.
I mean, there's a lot of people coming from Korea, and then like you and Brian and Kyle and Janine from Treehouse. There's a ton of people going that have never been before. So
that's awesome.
I'm stoked about it. Like,
isn't Crimson Cresteds going to be there too?
Yeah,
right?
Donna's coming too. Donna's coming. Yeah, from the UK.
Awesome.
So that'll be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet everybody, and
it's gonna be like it's gonna be like a giant. It's gonna be weird because there's so many of these people that have never met each other and then have never been together all in one place.
In person.
Yeah.
It's a little daunting. Like, hopefully it all goes well, but
it will.
Kyle, it's all right, man. I'm an introvert too, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'm the definition of an introvert. So. But I'm trying. So I'm excited for sure, and I can't wait to. I'm gonna try to be good, not really buy anything, but that's not gonna happen.
Dude, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna
need
buy like 10 animals. There's no way.
Cash only. Don't use your credit card.
All right, so I'm gonna buy something, but I don't want to buy another species. Let's.
Yeah, that's
I'll hold firm on that.
Well, you don't have to because there's going to be 1 million Crested geckos in one building. So
I know.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, that's very exciting.
I know, but I love the obscure stuff. I can't wait to see what's there. I'm pretty spontaneous, so I might just grab something and be like, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
but it is going to be hard not to buy Cresteds there. Like, depends what's there and look around, and
it's the mecca of Crested geckos.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
It's incredible.
I can't wait. I think I'm pretty much meeting most of the rest, like a good amount of the other breeders too. Like,
cool.
Finally get to meet them.
Yeah.
But
we're recording right now, but we'll put this episode out next week, and so I plan to put it out right before Tinley. So this will be kind of like our pre-Tinley special, and then we'll have Gabby afterwards, and so it'll be fun. It'll be good. So
give me a heads up or whatever, and I'll post. I'll share it. Yeah. Okay. Just if you come up with something like whatever, just let me know and I'll share it.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool. Yeah, for sure, brother.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, thanks, Kyle.
Awesome.
This was awesome.
No problem. I am running over my cord. Like I'm like pulling my head down. I circled around the chair.
He's got a broken neck after this podcast from his headphones.
You gotta step back now. Yeah.
But no, I'll see you guys next week, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
No, thanks for having me on. And if you need anything from me, either of you, just let me know.
Cool.
You know where to reach me.
For sure.
All right,
thanks,
peace,
Kyle.
guys.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Brother.
Yeah, no problem.
Later.
Later.
Bye.